The Trimble family's journey to Ohio was a fight for land and freedom, driven by dreams of building a legacy for future generations. Like many pioneers, they faced harsh realities: tensions with native tribes, land conflicts, and government policies favoring profit over settlers' welfare. Scots-Irish pioneers like the Trimbles brought resilience, while New Englanders, veterans, and French immigrants laid the foundation for towns and schools. By the 1840s, Welsh, German, English, and Irish settlers further expanded Ohio's growth. Neighbors worked together, turning hardship into success. For the Trimbles, America was a chance to build a future rooted in strong family values, education, and faith. Their story is one of perseverance, community, and the pursuit of a better life. The call of the frontier. By the late 18th century, the promise of fertile land in the Northwest Territory drew countless immigrants westward. James and Mary Trimble answered the call, leaving their Virginia home in 1803 with their 3 young children. The Ohio Valley, rich with opportunity but fraught with danger, offered a chance to build a new life. However, the land was not empty. It was a contested frontier, home to indigenous tribes fighting to preserve their way of life. The settlement of Ohio came at a steep price, as tensions between settlers and native tribes often escalated into violence. Battles and raids were not uncommon, as the fight for land engulfed the region. For settlers, every acre cleared was a step toward freedom. But for native tribes, it was a devastating loss of homeland and culture. The 1795 Treaty of Greenville, signed after General Anthony Wayne's victory at Fallen Timbers, had opened much of Ohio to settlement. Yet, tensions simmered. Native tribes, including the Shawnee, Delaware, and Wyandot, resisted encroachment on their lands. The Trimble family, like many settlers, faced the constant threat of violence as they sought to tame the wilderness. The Trimble family's story unfolded during this volatile period. The U.S. government, eager to sell land to fund its young economy, encouraged expansion but provided limited protection, leaving settlers to fend for themselves in many cases. For pioneers, the price of progress often meant risking their lives and the lives of their loved ones. The journey and arrival. The Trimble family's journey westward was arduous. Traveling along the wilderness road and navigating the Ohio River on a flatboat, they faced relentless challenges. Cold rains and low water levels slowed their progress, while the ever-present threat of Indian attacks loomed over them. Traveling by flatboat, the family endured cold rains, cramped quarters, and the relentless uncertainty of the river's currents. Mary Trimble's courage became a family legend. At the icy Clinch River, she crossed on horseback, clutching her infant Alan and holding 2 other children close. James, strong and steadfast, guided the family through challenges with unwavering determination. Their story echoed Judge Dunleavy's tales of perseverance, as families camped along riverbanks, waiting for spring rains to raise the waters and carry them westward. Upon arriving in Warren County, the Trimbles built their log cabin with the help of neighbors. The raising day was as much a celebration as it was a testament to community cooperation. Whiskey flowed freely, and by dusk, the cabin stood, a single-room home with a clay hearth and clapboard roof. Their first months were marked by relentless labor, clearing forests, planting crops, and preparing for winter. The work of survival was unrelenting. James cleared dense forests to plant corn, beans, and squash, while Mary preserved root vegetables and dried apples for the winter. Their children, Alan included, quickly learned the value of hard work, gathering kindling and tending livestock. Every member of the family contributed, forging a life rooted in resilience and shared effort. But as they worked, tensions with local tribes escalated, reminding settlers that their presence was not uncontested. A community in turmoil. Beyond these violent encounters, the ever-present specter of war weighed heavily on the Trimble family and their neighbors. Communities organized militias, and settlers were taught to handle weapons from a young age. The local church became not only a place of worship, but also a meeting ground where settlers discussed defenses and shared news of nearby attacks. Despite the turmoil, the Trimbles worked tirelessly to establish a sense of normalcy. Mary taught the children to read by candlelight, while James cleared more land for planting. But life was exhausting, with fear and hardship a daily reality. Mary often remarked that she longed for the peace promised in the family's decision to leave Scotland, a peace that seemed perpetually out of reach. Cohabitation and conflict with Native Americans. While some settlers maintained trade and peaceful relations with native tribes, broader conflicts overshadowed these exchanges. The Ohio Valley was far from an empty wilderness. Indigenous peoples, including the Shawnee, Delaware, and Wyandot, had cultivated the land for centuries. Initially, relations between settlers and native tribes were characterized by trade and mutual learning. James Trimble, a pioneer in the region, recognized the wisdom of the Shawnee, who shared valuable agricultural techniques and methods for preserving food. He often remarked, "Were it not for the knowledge bestowed by the Shawnee, our winter provisions would not have sufficed." However, the challenges of frontier life complicated these relationships. Skirmishes and broken treaties bred distrust among settlers, who found themselves torn between admiration for native resilience and the pressure to claim land as their own. U.S. government policies of displacement and forced relocation further strained interactions, disrupting the fragile coexistence that had developed over time. Despite the ongoing conflicts, the cultural influence of indigenous peoples endured, leaving a lasting impact on local agriculture and storytelling traditions. Justice and morality on the frontier. The pioneers of Ohio were not only builders of homes and communities, but also guardians of a moral code. The early settlers believed that a society could not thrive without justice and accountability. Courts of common pleas, such as the one presided over by Judge William Wilson, administered the law, balancing the frontier's promise with its perils. James Trimble often shared stories of the harsh realities of justice. He recounted the tale of John Corson, convicted of theft in Licking County in 1812. Corson's sentence of 50 lashes while tied to the town's whipping post, administered publicly over 2 days, served as both punishment and deterrent. These vivid stories, while grim, reinforced the settlers' belief in the rule of law as a cornerstone of their burgeoning society. The community, cooperation and celebration. The Trimble family thrived within a close-knit community where mutual aid was essential for survival. Log-rolling frolics, corn-husking bees, and quilting parties brought neighbors together to share labor and laughter. These gatherings strengthened bonds and offered rare moments of joy amid the unrelenting demands of frontier life. Yet, the shadow of conflict with native tribes often tempered these celebrations. Settlers remained vigilant, knowing that their presence on contested land brought constant tension. Church services were not only spiritual havens, but also places where settlers shared news of nearby skirmishes or discussed plans for community defense. Town meetings, while ensuring collective decision-making, often focused on fortifying the settlement against potential raids. For young Alan Trimble, this dual reality of cooperation and conflict was formative. James frequently took him to court proceedings, where he learned the importance of justice in maintaining order and stability. These lessons, intertwined with the hardships of frontier life, shaped Alan into a leader who would one day serve as Ohio's governor. His ability to navigate the complexities of a growing state reflected the resilience and accountability instilled in him by his pioneering parents. The birth of Utopia. By the 1840s, Ohio had transformed from a rugged frontier to a beacon of social and economic experimentation. Communities like Utopia in Clermont County sought to create harmonious societies based on cooperation and equality. Yet, the scars of earlier conflicts with native tribes and the persistent memory of hardship shaped these utopian visions. Many of these communities were built on land that had been forcibly taken, and the ideal of equality often clashed with the historical realities of displacement and violence. The Clermont Phalanx, inspired by utopian ideals, embodied the pioneering spirit of dreaming big despite obstacles. The Trimble family's legacy was intertwined with this vision. Their commitment to faith, education, and justice echoed the ideals of utopia, even as the settlement faced challenges of debt, flooding, and discord. For families like the Trimbles, the dream of building a better society was driven by the lessons learned from navigating the complexities of frontier life, where survival often depended on balancing cooperation with vigilance in the face of conflict. Legacy of the Pioneers, Resilience and Controversy. The story of the Trimble family encapsulates the broader narrative of Ohio's early settlers. Resilient people guided by faith and moral conviction, who overcame immense challenges to build a thriving society. Their determination to create a future on the Ohio frontier reflects the pioneering spirit that drove America's westward expansion. Yet this progress came at a cost, as settlers like the Trimbles faced not only the hardships of taming the wilderness, but also the tensions, battles, and sacrifices that defined life on the frontier. The resilience of these pioneers was forged through hard work, cooperation, and an ability to adapt to the realities of conflict with native tribes and the enduring struggle for security. From the whipping posts of frontier justice to the celebrations of community cooperation, they laid the foundation for a society rooted in shared values and perseverance. However, their story also highlights the duality of progress. For settlers, it was the pursuit of land and freedom. For native tribes, it meant displacement and the loss of a way of life. The legacy of Ohio's early pioneers challenges us to reflect on the complexities of history, on dreams achieved and struggles endured. It is a story of hope, sacrifice, and the costs of building a new nation. Together, these narratives form the multifaceted heritage of the Ohio Valley, reminding us of the resilience required to shape the future and the importance of honoring the past. If you enjoyed learning about Ohio's early pioneers and their lasting impact, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of history and heritage. Until next time, keep dreaming, exploring, and honoring the legacies that paved the way for our future.